Hello everyone, Increasing Control here, and welcome to this small masterclass for Home of Sound. Since it's a small masterclass, I will not have time to cover all the details. I'll try to do my best. Maybe we will do a larger video in the future if you want, guys. And yeah, let's dive in Ableton. So when I'm making a new piece of music, I always start with the same sheet for the creative process. I imagine a place, could be a real place, imaginary place, scene of a movie, video game, whatever. But I do always this, and I try to concentrate myself about specific critical elements that resonate with the environment. Could be a piece of metal, the ambience itself, doesn't matter. So let's start with a drone, let's say. Let's start with Kira. I don't force myself to start with something like the kick, the bass line or whatever. I just take these elements and I try to reproduce the ambience, and then from that point I will go on. So let's try with Kiral. I'm using a lot of Max for Live devices because since I work a lot with my modular synthesizer, this kind of environment helps me to replicate this and treat Ableton like a giant modular would. I'm gonna add a pitch module so I can just decide the pitch from here without touching the note again. As a normal synthesizer, you can use whatever you want. I will just add, let's say, a filter, a reverb. Also the reverb, doesn't matter. You can use whatever you want. And let's modulate slightly with an LFO, a slow one. Let's modulate the sync. Okay. As you can hear, we have the movement for the first layer. I'm gonna make another layer. Let's create a group. This automatically create an instrument track. And here I'm gonna I use always my voice also. Lately I'm using a lot of mouth play from Dylan Bastan. It's a strange vocal synthesizer. Let's modulate everything here. If you listen up together, let's add a filter here, a notch filter. We're gonna slightly modulate the filter. Let's add distortion a little bit at the end. And an hybrid filter, hybrid reverb, sorry. Gonna use the shimmer algorithm. Okay. We're gonna cut the stereo low end. And we're gonna record the first pattern. Okay, we can play with the dirt of Kiral. Okay. Okay, that should be enough. You can save the instrument track or you can delete it like I will do, because otherwise I'm gonna process the sound in an infinite way loop. So we're gonna call it this environment 01. For another layer, I will use some of my field recordings. I simply record stuff outside here in the studio or outside, it doesn't matter. Let's use this one here. Yeah, this is my Hinterhof here in Berlin. I'm gonna apply an EQ and let's use device randomizer. Yeah, let's just click map and I select the device, and this one will be randomly completely modulated. I will apply a Q8 just to take out the low end. Okay, a little bit of delay, reverb, limiter for the safe zone. So now I will apply THX Spatial Creator. I'm using this a lot. I go in motion with the speed and the scalar. Of course you need headphones to hear this, but it helps me to give a little bit of organic elements to the patch together. I'm gonna make a group. And here I will apply an EQ3, okay, make a group. duplicate the EQ tree, and I'm gonna select in the first one just the low end, and the second one just the high end, and I'm gonna apply an auto pan in the last one. Phase a little bit, and we have this kind of, I can apply an LFO and modulating the rate. And a little bit of reverb just to glow everything together. Okay, and let's call it this one drone. So we made the first elements. For the second one, I'm gonna create, let's say, yeah, the bass line, the rhythm. And I'm gonna open up a MIDI track and insert a sampler. Okay, here I found my kick. Okay, I don't have time to explain properly the layering and everything, but simply select all the sound source you want, go inside the sampler here. If you open up the zone, you find everything here. You go in selector, and with this one, if you press the right click here, uniform distribution, with this you decide which sample is playing. I'm gonna create a pattern with the C3. Gonna open up and choose here the chance, not velocity. So the chance, I'm gonna select everything and randomizing a little bit. Okay, now I can choose something like expression control. This is the new one. I use also other stuff, but let's use this one for now. I'm gonna select random, and I'm gonna map it to the selector. So now I'm gonna insert some texture with distortion. Let's use, yeah, cold fire. Normally I do my preset, but just let's choose one like this. Let's close it. One little trick after distortion, I always put an EQ, and I attenuate a little bit around 200 Hz, just because distortion creates a lot of muddiness. I put always the reverb after the filter. Okay, and then again the stereo low cut. Not so much reverb. Okay, and now I simply record this pattern and I'm playing with it. You can play with the envelope. Okay, that's enough. So once I've done that, I simply create a loop. Okay. I choose, when I find something I like, I duplicate the clip and I find another one. Okay, so at this point I will create a kick, but since I don't have time, I'm gonna use one of my, let's say, bass line. Yeah, let's use this one. Basically, this one is the result of this plus a kick pattern, let's say. For the kicks, I always mix sound synthesis with a lot of field recordings, because I find that with field recordings you reach like an organic element, like it's really good. Let's take out a little bit of low end. A little trick, I put an EQ here. I find the fundamental frequency of the kick. For example, should be, yeah, let's say here. I simply cut the EQ. I go in the, let's say, rumble, copy here. I insert an envelope follower, and I take the sidechain from this section here. Should be the 47, yeah. Let's go from 50 to 0%. I'm gonna map it to the gain. So every time the kick's in, as you can see, we can manage the gain together. Okay, what I like to do is mix different bass line that I recorded in my library. Yeah, let's use this one. I'm gonna choose a bass like this. Of course, I'm gonna cut out the low end. Okay, and another one like... yeah, let's use this one together. I'm gonna put a sidechain here with a glue compressor external from the kick. I'm gonna apply the sidechain filter, otherwise the detector of the compression will apply too loud. Okay, then I will make a group. Let's call it bassline plus kick. Okay, and here I will apply some compression with the glue compression. Slow attack, fast release. In this way we maintain and alterate the transient of the kicks. Okay, don't worry about the clipping, because now we're gonna use some distortion like with Disturb Culture. Distortion comes from the same family of clipping and limiting, so as you can see now we are not clipping anymore. Now with Pro Q4 I'm gonna apply a low cut, let's say, yeah, this one. And I'm gonna decide I'm gonna choose the linear phase. In this way we'll not have a phase problem. Okay, I'm gonna apply an EQ, cutting out. Yeah, as you can see we have a lot of low frequency in stereo. Okay, together. Okay, I want to reduce this to 120. A little better. So now I will do some rhythm. I'll create a MIDI track. For this one I will choose another field recordings, a recording I made in Tretour Park. If I go here in the MIDI clip, we'll apply instantly a simpler. I go in slice mode. And then I will choose, let's use a sequencer, like the most simple one, ML85, yep. Randomize the pitch. Okay, let's use this. Apply a little bit of delay, reverb. I'm gonna make a group here, duplicate the group, changing the parameters inside the pitch and changing also the spots. This one will be in 7 with NLFO. I'm gonna modulate, let's put it here. I'm gonna modulate the coarse tone, so in this way we'll have variation of the slices. Gonna resample this one. I can play while I'm recording. Okay, that's enough. I'm gonna use another field recordings. Let's use this one. I'm in the market here. Slice mode again. ML85. A little bit of delay. Sorry, let's use a corpus. Pipe mode, go down. A reverb at the end. Let's turn off this for a second. So here, if I go down with the frequency, we will apply a filter, but what I like to do is activate the envelope and going up. Okay, let's record the track. Okay. So right now I'm gonna duplicate this. I wanna use like a complementary tracks. So yeah, going texture mode, let's say up with a pitch and reverse. Can use a pitch shifter. Okay, together. Okay. Okay, for the other, let's say hi-hat, I'm gonna use some from my library. For this one, I just use it like, I think I was in the garden with my girlfriend. Yeah, here is like, I think it was this one, yeah. Okay, let's create another pattern. Let's use flashback. So it's an emulation of the real module for Aerorack plates from Mutable Instrument. I'm gonna use it like with the row out. As you can hear, let's turn down the volume. Now this acts like a proper oscillator without touching anything. You can press play or not, it's the same. And I'm gonna modulate this one. Let's use steps. Randomize it a little bit, and we're gonna map it to the, say, harmonics. Apply an LFO on the timbre. Slow rate, I'm gonna apply this one here. Another LFO in random mode that changes the algorithm. Don't worry now about the sounds if it's shitty, because the result will be really nice. Let's use a grain delay, just a tiny touch here in the mid, and of course a reverb at the end. Let's change the reverb, let's use Aura. Okay, let's record this, and let's play. Okay. Okay, that's enough. Let's delete this one. So now a little trick, you select, let's say you make a loop. I will start with a loop of 2. Okay, you apply another filter, you close the filter, you apply another steps, you randomize the parameters, and you map it to the frequency, another delay. I'm not going to use a lot of plugins just because not everyone has everything. So again, the reverb, let's use from Ableton normal reverb. And you can choose like a spot that you like. Once you have found it, you duplicate and find another one together. Okay, let's find another steps. Okay, that's nice. Let's recording it, but if I want to give a metallic texture, I'm gonna apply like a really short delay. Let's use the Sandman Pro in multi-tap. You can use also the normal delay without the sync in a small amount of milliseconds. Gonna record this. Okay, so right now I'm gonna try a thing with my mic. I'm gonna record some noise with some stuff like this, random stuff. Yeah, let's start it. So what I'm gonna do is taking this recording, as you can hear, apply a distortion unit. Let's use ROAR. I'm gonna select a par randomizer. It's just a randomizer for Ableton. You select the device, confirm. Okay, we can apply a little bit of delay, like a short one. Yeah, and a reverb. If you randomize this, another one is Data Train from Dilo Bastan. It's a sort of glitch machine. So once you have done that, you have these recordings, and you can chop pieces of audio that you like. For example, okay, let's say this is good. Okay. Other piece of stuff. Okay, so just to let you understand that if you cut and organize all of these sounds, you will end up with for example, you have a library here, source hit, you have all of these sounds, so I'm gonna use them. Open a MIDI track, open a sampler. I'm gonna take all this source, 133, put inside here. As before, we're gonna use the randomization. We open up the zone, selector, right click. Yeah, let's duplicate the length. I'm gonna paint, let's say, something like this. Okay, we have to set the envelope like a trigger. Okay, as before, we're gonna use the expression control in the random way, and we're gonna modulate as before the sample. Okay, and now we're gonna apply the effects. I'm gonna apply some delay, a reverb, and as before, Sandman Pro. I'm gonna apply an LFO, and we're gonna randomize the delay, and we're gonna record this. I'm gonna put a filter with a notch. I'm gonna move the filter in stereo. I'm gonna record this pattern. With everything. Apply a little bit of drive. Okay. This is nice. Okay, you can delete this or save it. I'm gonna call it back source because this is my element that should be in the background and it constantly moving, and it helps the ear of the listener to don't lose attention on the track. Okay, you can duplicate and reverse it, chop piece of sound, stuff like this, but since we have other elements, I don't want to overdo it, so let's hear it alone. Let's cut, of course, the low end. And since we are playing, let's say in 4/4, I'm gonna play an autopan with no phases, this reverse, and we're gonna go in 1/4 if I find it. Here is sort of sidechain, and we're gonna compensate the loss of volume with, let's say, 1.5 dB. We can apply a bandpass, a large bandpass with some modulation and a tiny reverb here. As you hear, is in the background. Okay. Let's check it if everything is correct here. I'm gonna cut the low end stereo. Yeah, as you can hear, this is a problem when it's stereo. Okay, let's create the last track. Since it is a sort of cinematic track, I feel that a Bram is really a good sound that fits good in this track. So let's create a Bram. I'm gonna open it and using a wavetable. I usually don't use the wavetable from Ableton just because I don't like this kind of envelopes here. So I'm gonna take, say, a C3 like this. Okay, let's go in sawtooth wave. Activate the other oscillator. Let's activate the unison. Okay, let's close up the filter. And let's use the envelope 2. Okay. To open up the filter. The envelope 2. And the envelope 3 to create the pitch envelope. Okay. Okay, let's close everything with a filter. A little bit of envelope. Some distortion here. Let's use again the stop culture. Just a little bit. Okay, reverb. Usually I will mix this with one of my boom from my sample pack, personal sample pack. So yeah, let's mix this one. So if you mix them together, sort of just to let you understand the process. Now I'm gonna use one that is already full processed. It's here, I think. Yeah. So let's cut a little bit the low end. If I play with the drum. Sorry if you don't hear properly the bass line, but I'm a little bit sick in these days, so my ear can't feel like the real low end. So of course there will be some problem in the low end, but it's just for the creative process, you know, to let you understand the sound design process, not the mixing stuff. So yeah, sometimes I work also like directly here. I do my sound design session here, and then I, let's say, do the arrangement. One thing I've learned is like divide at any cost the sound design session, my creative process, from the track making, you know, because the time is the first enemy for the creativity. Of course, here I will start with a drone like this. This is called be the intro. Then I could play the drum. I play a lot with my APC 40 because it allows me to try the track like in a live stuff or something like this. Sometimes I record what I'm doing here, and I've already done the arrangements. Yeah, for example here. This is a small part of my sound design process. I will do a lot of different stuff like resampling, a a lot of synthesis process and stuff like this. Let's stop for now, and hope you find it really helpful, guys, and hope you like it. And thanks for watching, and see you.